Greetings. I'm honored to be with you today in the celebration of life, honoring Jean Craig Johnson. She was a gift to so many people in so many ways throughout her long life. Think of it. She lived 101 years. Think of all that transpired over all those years of her life. Amazing, really, isn't it? We give thanks to God for her life and the way in which she was a gift to us. It was fun to watch that slideshow, the jumping back decades and appearances, locations, and people, the stimulating of thoughts about times past, though very much still alive in our memories. Our spirits are like that, repositories of moments and experiences that carry forward in shaping our lives and perhaps even blessing them. As I consider life, it's clear to me that we are gifted by God with a variety of qualities and characteristics that go along with our personalities and our style. And this becomes who we are to those around us and as we regard ourselves. We are fortunate, it seems to me, when we discover ways to use who we are in a manner that uplifts and supports others. So through the effect of our relationships, we might actually become a gift to others. Of course, this is the challenge of living life well. And we often stumble, don't we, along its path. Yet we hope to try our best and be our better selves to others and pray they receive us as such, welcoming our good intentions. God helps us in this endeavor of life and of memory, and we pray God's grace informs it all as it guides us along our journey. I hope you see here in Jean a gift from God to you, a life spent managing obstacles and opportunities, and along the way, as she was able, extending kindness to others as her way to make a better way through it. You'll hear more of that hope of her part, on her part, in the words from the upcoming video interview. She realized the importance of loving one's neighbor and doing one's best to stretch one's narrowness and better open oneself to those neighbors. We all have that work to do. Bless her for trying to let love lead in her life, whether it was to those community members in her small town life in Illinois or her bigger town life in California, or to her beloved children and grandchildren. Love is the key, and I sense she tried to live into that awareness. And so bless her heart, and what has now become her gift to all of you gathered here in her memory. Let the better part of this inheritance lead you forward as you find ways to honor her through the life ahead of you. Let's take a moment to pray. God of us all, your love never ends. When all else fails, you still are God. We praise the steadfastness of your grace and love in our lives, even as we might lose sight of it in the busyness of our days. You undergird us and open up the possibilities of life abundant and well-lived. We give you thanks for that in our lives, and today, most importantly, for that in Jean's life. We pray to you for one another in our emotional and spiritual need today, as we celebrate her life and mourn her passing, and for all, wherever they might be, who share in our sorrow and loss. May we all be comforted and strengthened for our futures without her living presence, near or far, in our lives. And as first you gave Jean Craig Johnson to us, now we give her back to you. Being so surrounded by your loving mercy and drawn into a oneness with you, we commend Jean to your eternal care. Welcome home a dear child of yours, whom we will miss greatly and remember always. We pray that you would help us keep true the love with which we hold one another, and assist us to move forward as family and friends, holding honored within us her memory and those priceless gifts of self and spirit we have received from her. May our lives be a further witness to her valued place in our hearts. We pray this all in your holy name. Amen. Now, family and friends, we have the opportunity to hear reflections on her life in the words of Jean herself.
I was born Martha Jean Agnew, and the Agnew comes from Agnew, A-G-N-E-A-U, French name.
Now, in 1937, you moved to Lakin, Illinois, when your father was contracted to build the Lakin Bridge across the Illinois River. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about that move?
Oh, golly, that was a little town of 1,800. And we thought we were going to hate it, but we came to love it.
How did you meet your husband of 35 years, Ed Craig?
Well, we had a country club at the edge of the town, a 9-hole course, and on Wednesdays they'd have dance for youth, and that's where I met most of the people. And they had a swimming pool, and I started playing golf.
What was Ed Craig like?
He was a good-looking Irishman. We had a good marriage. We had 5 children, and they were our big interest in life. They're all about 5 years apart. Judy's my first child, Kathy, Barbara, David, and Elaine. Every single one was delightful in their own way, and they really center of our lives. We were a very close family. All of my children are good to me.
That's a blessing, no?
Yes, it is, and I realize it.
If you could change the world, how would you make it better?
Well, I think we all should paying more attention to the welfare and a better life for all of us. There should be more more brotherly love to make it. There's just a little narrowness in all of us that I wish weren't there. I know it's true of myself. And I think it would be a better world if we all paid a little more attention to the person next to us.
Why did you decide to sit down and tell us this story today?
Because Elaine talked about how nice it would be to, after I'm gone, for my grandchildren and my children to know what I was like as a person.
I want you to imagine your children's children's children, your grandchildren's grandchildren, sitting with their kids in front of a screen someplace, watching this interview sometime in the future. And I want you to speak right into the camera, which is right over my shoulder, right there. And I want you to tell them why life is worth living.
That's a tough one. Let's see. Well, it can be a wonderful experience, but you have to work a little at it. And the more you work, the better it gets. And you have to have goals. That's a deep question. You can't just live life helter-skelter. You should work toward a pattern, and in my case, the children have been my life, and my husband's. I had two. I think we all know innately what makes, that we have to work at making a better life, but you can't confine it to just the little you. We're all here on a big, big ride, and the better we make things for everyone, the better the world is. The world calls for love of God's children, and we're all God's children. None of us is perfect, but it's a goal.
And one last thing, is there one thing that you would want your children's 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 children to know about you?
I want you to know that kindness to other people is a gift to you. It makes your life much better. And may the world go in that direction year after year. Love each other. It's fun. It's good.
In the rising sun and at its going down, we remember them.
In the blowing of the wind and the chill of the winter, we remember them.
In the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them.
In the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them.
In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them.
In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them.
When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them.
When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them.
When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them.
When we have joy we yearn to share, we remember them.
So long as we live,
They too will live.
for they are now part of us, as
We remember them.
On Easter morning, Pastor Walt came up to me and said, "I've been enjoying watching your mom's video, and it occurs to me as I'm watching it that your mother was a very loving person." And I said, "Yes, thank you, she was." I've been thinking about Mom a lot over the last few weeks and missing her a lot. I've been thinking a lot about her many admirable qualities and focusing on those qualities that have helped me gain strength and heal. In the book on Grief and Grieving, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said, "As we heal, we learn who we are and who our loved one was in life. In a strange way, as we move through grief, healing brings us closer to the person we loved. A new relationship begins." Mom was loving, she was creative, she was courageous, and she was resilient. I see today as an opportunity to express my appreciation and gratitude for some of these qualities. Mom was loving. Throughout her life, and especially in later years, she clearly valued love, family, friendship above everything else. She enjoyed meeting new people and making new friends. She had a way of appreciating the moment and seeing the significance or the humor in the moment. And I think we all experienced how special it felt to be in one of those moments with her. I'm grateful that Mom fell in love with our dad at age 18 and settled in a small Midwest town after growing up in big cities on the East and West Coast. There, at age 19, our mom began raising and loving my 4 siblings, who have been my guides, my comfort, and my dearest friends for all of my life. And I'm grateful that she had the wisdom and fortitude to have one more at age 39. Mom was creative in many ways. whether it was making beautiful Christmas decorations out of construction paper or costumes from clothes around the house, or teaching us songs that her mother and father taught to her. From the time that we could talk, we were taught to sing songs like I've Been Working on the Railroad, Pretty Silvery Moon, and I Lost My Dog. Songs that seemed like only our family seemed to know, but we all still know every word, and I think some of you do too. Mom was also courageous. By starting her dress business at age 45, she showed strength and perseverance every day. She illustrated that our self-worth isn't defined by how others see us, but by what we know we are capable of creating and doing ourselves. That with imagination, hard work, and a little luck, you can forge a path to help support yourself, your family, and others in the community, all while doing work that you love to do. I appreciated her words of encouragement when I started my own business 35 years ago. And Mom was resilient. Throughout life's twists and turns over 101 amazing years, she never gave up. She had a quiet faith. When I was young, she kept a small plaque on her dresser that said simply, "When ye pray, believe." I think she drew a lot of strength from those 4 simple words. I also remember her saying in difficult times, "This too shall pass." And that was always comforting. And of course, the often quoted wisdom, if I can just get my hair done, I can get through anything. Okay, that last one wasn't from the Bible, but even in those words showed that Mom was a fighter. She had resiliency and she dusted herself off and kept going when times got tough. And finally, with that resiliency, Mom made the big move back to California at age 84, giving us all the opportunity to open a new chapter with her, getting to know her as a person and a friend, not just as a mother. And I'm grateful that she got to know my husband and my children. Mom had a zest for life and a presence that transcended age. We aspire to be like her, to age with grace and style, kindness and humor. And we thank her for being loving, creative, courageous, and resilient.
As you likely noticed, I pre-recorded that. I wasn't sure I could host and chew gum at the same time. So I'm going to turn it over to David, and then Kathy will speak, and then finally Judy. Okay.
Great. Elaine and Paul and the family, thank you so much for putting together this presentation. Wonderful, wonderful job. It's very, very touching, very moving. I'm going to share just 3 little stories, just memories of Mom, and I will get choked up a couple times, and I think so will everybody. So that's just the way it's going to go. But first one I want to share is my earliest memory of Mom. So my earliest vivid memory is when I was a little boy at elementary school, and we had something back in the Midwest in the 50s called May Basket Day, right? It's a little tradition where your mom would make up little baskets, and Mom would go out in the yard and get dandelions and violets and candy and put them in baskets. Then we load the baskets in the car, and then you would drive around to little girls' houses in your class, and I think she called the moms beforehand. And your job was you would go run up to the door, ring the doorbell, and say, "May Basket Day, May Basket Day." And their job was to come out, chase you down, and kiss you. And it was a early Midwestern mating ritual. We started me young back there. But the thing I remember about it is Mom, when I come back to the car, Mom would have this big smile on her face. And she loved it so much. And it was such a warm and wonderful experience for us to share. And that's my first memory of her. Another memory, again, childhood, birthdays, my birthday. So my birthday, inconveniently, was December 26th, okay, day after Christmas. So our mom and dad, like any family, Christmas Eve, they wait for us to go to bed. And then they got to do all the presents. And then they go to bed, and then they got to get up early. And we wake them up, they do the presents. the home videos. And then mom has to make a sumptuous, huge meal, come out with the turkey, the apron on, the dress, the earrings, everything. And then in our house, our friends would start coming over, mom and dad's friends, and their kids, and they would entertain them all night. They had food and drinks and kids running around the house. And then, so I'm sure they went to bed exhausted. But my mom, God bless her, on my birthday, she would get up, put on the apron again, and we had the videos to prove this. She would leading little kids and pin the tail on the donkey, and then here comes the birthday cake, and she's got a big smile on her face, and she was a trooper. She always made my birthday just great, and she never skipped a beat, and so that was important to me, and I appreciate that she did that, and I said a lot about her. Next, third memory is this is when I was in high school. And at this point, mom had the dress shop and very successful at that point. And I was out in the kitchen just doing dishes or something, and she was in the living room reading the paper. And she called me in and she said, "Hey, David, I just read about something. It's called Washington Workshops. And it's where students go out to Washington, D.C. for 2 weeks in the summer, and they get to study government and be with other kids and everything. And would you like to do this?" I said, "Absolutely." So she set it up, she initiated, she paid for it, she sent me, I went, we went to the White House, we went to embassies, I met kids from around the country. It was a wonderful time. And when I got back, I told her there's a second part that's possible, which is interning in your congressman's office in the winter. And I would like to do that. I said, "I'll think about it." Of course, this was extremely expensive, for 3 weeks, and you paid for the program and you lived in Washington. And she came back to me and said, "Yep, I think we're going to do this. Let's do this." And so not only did she initiate and take care of it, we got on the plane together. She went with me. And so we flew out to Washington together. She went to the hotel to stay the first night, met all my new friends from around the country. And she was great with them. She was charming. She was funny. And then she went on to her father's house, and I went on to do the program. But she was just so great throughout that whole thing. It was such a gift to me, and such a blessing. And so these are just some wonderful memories of my mom that I just wanted to share. And I think that Kathy is next.
Well, it's wonderful to see all of you, and I really appreciate everything that has been said and done. I loved that video of Mom and Elaine talking to us about her appreciation of Mom, and David's stories. Even some details I hadn't heard, and it's good. And so it's good to see everyone. And I wrote down some things about Mom and her constellation of good qualities that as I saw them expressed in my life. And a little bit of duplication, but because I just noticed that. But I think you can appreciate it. Mom did, kindness. Mom did so many things that were kind to us and to others. I remember her curling my hair, taking me around on May Day to deliver her beautifully crafted May Day baskets of construction paper, doilies, spring flowers, and candy to the little boys ringing their doorbells. See, there's a difference there, David. Yours probably went to the little girls. Then my running back to the car and hoping they would catch me to give me the traditional May Day kiss. One day that shows her caring and kindness stands out to me. I want to say I appreciated the pastor's remarks. I'm going to play that again and again. That was inspired. I want to go to his church sometime. One day that shows her caring and kindness stands out to me because she gave me something that I had not asked for, and it wasn't Christmas or my birthday. She called me to come in from playing, and there in the driveway was a wonderful orange manufactured metal go-kart type of contraption that was long and low to the ground, and it went fast. You steered it with your feet, of all things, and you propelled it by pulling the handle back and forth. And you can go slow or fast. Anyway, and then another complete surprise is when she presented me with a Brownie camera, and that ignited my love of photography all my life to this day. When I graduated from high school, she and Dad took me out to dinner, and I felt like I was being welcomed into the adult world. I mean, she was so thoughtful like that, you know, and patience with my music. Mom would patiently listen while I plunked wrong notes while learning to play the piano. She took as much as she could stand of my learning to play the snare drums. Later, she bore it with my badly playing the cornet, you know, which is a type of trumpet, as you probably know. Finally, the clarinet brought a more peaceful, melodic atmosphere to the house and to Mom's nerves. All right. Memories of Mom's cooking. Mom and Grandma were great cooks. I'll just give you the synopsis of this. David touched on it, and we saw pictures of her with holding a platter of perfectly roasted turkey on the occasions when she would have a wonderful holiday dinner for us, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever. And it was always done up to the maximum, and with beautiful china, crystal glasses, you know, we'd get out in our silverware and put it on a beautiful, special tablecloth that was for special occasions. And but we have a picture of her that, if anybody wants it, she's holding the platter of turkey and smiling so happily. You know, she and Dad enjoyed that. And Dad would always say, she would always ask Dad if the dressing was all right, and he would always say, I think it needs a little sage. I can hear Judy laughing there because we could predict it. He would say that. It was sweet. Mom's style, you know, everybody knows about that. Her lifelong sense of style was apparent in her early 20s to our family, in the age of high style, as well as her gift for making people feel special and cared about. The Turners have mentioned that. They are our cousins, and they really appreciated that when they would come to visit, like on Easter. And these were assets that she used, or that were assets to her, I'll put it that way, when she opened the beautiful dress shop, and with the charming atmosphere, and arranging for a local artist drawings of her outfit, her featured outfit of the week. It would appear in our big city, Peoria Journal Star, which was pretty cool. She did the buying in New York, the selling, along with Barb and other young women, the inventorying and tagging by hand, as well as steam ironing the clothes when they came in. Our sister Barb was a great salesperson too, who through hard work and her own sense of style helped Mom to make the shop a success. She helped customers. She too helped customers to select exactly what would be most attractive and appropriate for whatever occasion they were looking to find something at Jean's for. Elaine spoke to Mom's courage. I mentioned to her about a school in Cuernavaca, because I majored in Spanish and taught it, and I needed to always improve my Spanish. So to get to the point, I just mentioned it to her. The next thing I know, she had seen an ad in the paper by a travel agent advertising that she would take a small group to Cuernavaca, Mexico, to the Center for Bilingual Studies. Next thing I knew, she had gone and had a wonderful time. Everybody loved her. And she became friends with that travel guide, who sent us a lovely group of comments about her recently. Mom's joy of living. Mom was always a central part of our lives, whether by keeping in close contact with her in Illinois, or later here in Illinois, in California, where am I? Where she made lasting friendships and enjoyed lots of Judy's parties, Judy's friends' parties, Elaine's dinners and stayovers, excursions with me to the movies and opera, and David's accompanying her to restaurants, and in later years, a visit from one of us 4 to 5 days a week. Graciousness, I'll close with this. At her assisted living facility, she was president of the Residents Association for a time. I happened to be a guest at her table one night when it was her turn to make the evening announcements after dinner, after someone played the piano. I was impressed by how she reached out to the residents and their individual interests as she did this, always thinking of others, not about how she would present, but how she could direct the comments about the activities, to the interests of the people there. And later at the care center, her love of life and people and a growing sweetness endeared her to the other patients and staff and bonded her even more with her family. It was still easy to get her to go to interesting planned activities or watch a movie or go for a walk or sit in the I always call it the gondola, but it's a little place where you sit in the roses. We'd walk on the rose paths. It was lovely. Later at the care, I said that. And then finally, her great qualities, including her kindness, her zest for life, her creativity and style, as well as her wicked and clever sense of humor and love of people, made her a favorite with everyone who knew her. All right. Now we'll hear from Judy.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes? Oh, okay. I forgot you're all muted.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Well, my siblings have been so eloquent. And what's interesting is the same adjectives that you all used is what I have down here, about had such a sense of humor, that she was so caring. She was so creative. She was so funny, and she was very special. She was beautiful, smart. And one of the words that you all used was courageous or courage. For her to open a business that turned out to be very successful, but it was successful because she had a vision. For her to start that at mid-40s was really amazing. It was really amazing. She had a vision that this shop should not just be a little old dress shop, that it should be very, very special. And there were people that said, in a little town like Lakin, you can't have, special kind of clothes, designer clothes, which she had. She started out buying to the merchandise mart in Chicago and just didn't find the things that she really liked. So she went to New York. And she said to start buying on 7th Avenue. And she said she walked out of the hotel and she knew that 7th Avenue was either to the right or the left, and it was fairly nearby, but she was too embarrassed to ask the doorman. So she just started walking to the right, and there it was. And she picked out gorgeous clothes, and people trusted her vision. She would never sell something to someone if it didn't look good on them, it didn't flatter them. And so people really trusted her. What do you think, Jean? And she always gave them the most sincere and real advice. Besides the shop, before that, as you've all mentioned, she was a mom, and she was a fabulous cook. And not only did she do those great holiday dinners that Kathy talked about, but we had a fabulous dinner every night. She was always put an incredible meal on the table. We had salads every night, which in the cold winter Midwest, not too many people did, but we had a salad, even if all we had was iceberg lettuce, we still had she thought it was important to always have a salad. She had a collection of about 40 cookbooks. She loved to read the cookbooks. She loved to read. She was a voracious reader, and she was president of the library board. and chose the books for the library for quite a while. She was a great bridge player. She belonged to a bridge club for years and years and years. And there was, also she, as some of you know, but maybe all of you don't know, she loved the Lakers. She loved basketball. And going back to Bradley basketball, and she and Dad had season tickets, and they'd drive the 30 miles to the Bradley basketball games, and we would listen to all the away games on the radio, and she would get so involved. So we were lucky enough to go with my friend Angela, took us to a Lakers game. And that particular night was Valentine's Day. And they gave these big old orange t-shirts that said, "I heart Lakers." So we get to our seats. I fold mine up and I put it in my purse. I thought, you take these home for a souvenir. Meanwhile, Mom is pulling it over her head, getting it on. And I looked at her and she looked back at me and she laughed. And she said, "Go Lakers." And it was just so cute and so sweet. Another thing that you probably don't know about Mom is she was a fabulous gardener. And we had an empty lot next to us that belonged to a neighbor, and he would, half of the lot Mom planted, and David worked in the garden a lot, I know, did a lot of weeding. But we had like 4 or 5 kinds of lettuce and several kinds of tomatoes and several kinds of beans and sweet corn and everything. I mean, it was a real honest to God garden. She had so many talents, and she was a very, very unique and special person. When I tell the story about the Lakers and us laughing when she put on the t-shirt, I think that is the thing that I miss the most, is laughing with her. She had a fabulous sense of humor. She was funny, and she loved a good joke. She loved a good party. She was so great with people, and she was just special. And we all loved her. And I'm happy to be here with my family, my siblings, my beloved cousins from Michigan, my friends, and my nieces and nephews. And Elaine, you've done a beautiful job of putting this together. And you were all of you were so eloquent that I didn't know how I was going to follow you. But thank you for everything, and thank you all for coming. And Mom would have loved this.
That's for sure. Thank you, Judy. And now I just want to open it up if anybody else has anything they want to say. If you would just go ahead and unmute yourself, and if anyone needs to leave, by the way, we totally understand, and just we so appreciate you being here with us today. So thank you. Paul?
I just wanted to say how many years I enjoyed time with your mom. And it was very beautiful to see the early development of a family, the way you put those photos together, to see this young, beautiful young woman growing to a mother and the family starting to grow. It really captured a life, and she had an amazing life. And I think the DNA in your family is extraordinary. It's like, here's a Craig, here's a Craig, here's a Craig, here's a Craig. None of you can claim you are not related. So I think it was a beautiful tribute to her, and I'm so glad I got to see it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paula.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can say something. I've known your family, and this includes even, I don't know Barb well, but everybody else I'm feel pretty close to, and known your mom. And I've always felt like it's been a privilege, truly, to be known by your family, to know your family, to know moon, moon, pretty silver moon, all those little things that that, you know, are part of the fabric of my life now. And your mom, getting to know her more, of course, in the later years, it really shows how her spirit is part of each and every one of you. And that to me it's such a beautiful thing. And it's really, you know, it's just been a privilege being a part of the Craig experience, from baby Elaine all the way up to
Old
Jean. No, to Jean, the top end to the bottom end. And I think it's really it really shows like the gifts that she gave all of you, and how, you know, her spirit is there within all of you. And I thank you for the privilege of knowing you and your family and your mom.
Oh,
Thanks, Frank.
thanks,
Very
That's
nice.
very sweet. Thank you.
And Paula, thank you. That was lovely too.
Yeah.
Bob?
Bob Youth.
Hi guys, what an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to be here and celebrate the life of your beautiful mother. As many of you know, I'm sort of an honorary Craig. I've known the family since I moved to LA in 1986. I met Elaine in a class, and over the years, I've always been able to say to people, you know, Elaine is my oldest friend in LA, and I qualify it and I go, no, my longest known friend in LA, but now I don't do the qualification. Elaine truly is the oldest friend I have in LA.
Oh, gosh.
No, but one of the things that I didn't know about Jean was her absolute attention to her hairdo. And I was blessed to attend her 90th birthday party at Judy's house. And I don't know if any of you remember this, but it was Western themed. And so I thought it would be funny if I brought this little
All right.
this tiny cowboy hat, which I had a strap on it, and I wore it on my head because I had no other Western clothes. And it was cute and blah, 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 blah. And then I happened to go inside the house where your mom was sitting. She was sitting in, I believe it was your kitchen, Judy. And we were talking, she made a little comment. She thought it was cute that I wore the hat. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great to get a picture of her maybe with this hat on? So I took it off my head and I began to put it on her head, and she recoiled as though I had a rattlesnake in my hand. And she shot me a look that would have scared Vladimir Putin. I realized that I had crossed the line with her. It was so funny and so sweet. I've laughed about it over the years, but I did want to sort of make up for it now, because when you look at this, you realize how adorable it would have been in this hat. So anyway, a lovely, lovely woman. And as Frankie said, all of you Craigs are, you're like peas in a pod. And I feel very, very grateful to know you all. And I love you all. And I know that you'll carry forth the very best of your mother in you for the rest of your life.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. That was sweet. Thank you. Love you.
Well, I'll just make a couple comments very briefly. As I'm one of the Turner cousins, there's 5 of us, and there was no one more special than the Craigs. When we were growing up, we lived in Michigan. Most of us still do. So it was a long journey. It was about 7 hours, and we would go at Easter time and in the summer, and we were always welcomed with such graciousness and love. And you know, there were 4 or 5 Craigs kids, and then we were 5. So, you know, when we came, it was like a little invasion, and we were always welcomed very, very, very much. One little story that I remember that I think was a little bit typical of Aunt Jean, because it was just, she would be the only one who would think of this.
But when I graduated from high school and was going off for college, she wanted to give me a gift. And, you know, I said, oh, Aunt Jane, that's really nice, but I really don't need anything. And she said, well, come on down to the dress shop and let's see if we can pick something out. So I went down there with her, and she said, even though she knew I wasn't really just going off to college, I was going off to become an Adrian Dominican nun.
Oh.
And she said, I think you should have a swimsuit and a cover up. And I looked at her because I didn't even know if nuns swam. And so she brought out all these swimsuits and I picked out one and, you know, a cover up. I had that all through my convent years. I left and I still had this suit and I would still have it today if I hadn't put on those 2 or 3 pounds. Anyway, it's, you know, it's just kind of typical of her. And she was a wonderful aunt. We loved her, a favorite.
Oh, it's a great story. Never heard that. Thank you.
No, I didn't know that.
That's good to hear.
That's sweet.
Stories. Mom bought me a pair of multicolored shoes to take to wear to boarding school because she knew I'd have to wear a uniform. And so I hadn't really considered that much, but to her it was important that I have some sign of individuality and style. And I mean multicolored, you know, like green, orange, yellow. These were my shoes for school. Anyway, yeah.
Cute story.
I think I just want to reinforce what Mary Sue said, that Aunt Jean, no matter how much she just welcomed us, it was, you know, you just felt so special when you went there. And whether or not she was tired or energized, happy or sad, it was just like she was just so gracious in her welcome. And I was thinking today, as we're commemorating Aunt Jean's life, in a way, we're celebrating the beauty of family. You know, the life, the love, the roots, the blessings of family, and how precious these bonds are with us siblings and us cousins. You know, it's just, they're just such precious bonds. And of course, my mom, Aunt Jean, they remind us of what they handed down to us in terms of family and love of family. So I'm sure glad we're all family.
Oh, yeah.
And we loved Aunt Marie and Uncle Morris were wonderful, wonderful aunt and uncle, and the 5 Turner kids. I mean, it was a huge, when you guys came, it was so exciting. It was just really fun. We just had so much fun with you.
I wanted to mention before I forget that the poem that the grandchildren did, 5 grandchildren, there's the number 5 again. That was, they did such a wonderful job, and I really appreciate you guys. Everybody got it back to me right on time, and they did a really good job. And that was inspired, or that was a poem that Nancy sent to all of us when Mom died. She sent a package of poems and prayers and stories and notes that she wrote to all of us, and that was sitting on my desk, Nancy. And the version that you sent had 5 lines. We remember them. And I just, one day I just looked down, I saw 5 lines, 5 grandkids, that's it. So thank you for inspiring that. And thank you, grandkids, Nathan, Nellie, Katie. Let's see, who are my grandkids? Well, I know my kids.
I think that would also
Nathan and
include
Katie,
Jim and John.
John and Jim and Nell. John and Jim and Nell. There we go. Got them all. But thank you guys. Appreciate that.
That was lovely, by the way. Seeing the grandchildren. That's lovely. And thank you, Nancy.
I just had one little thing to chime in, which just certainly echoes what a number of you guys, what you guys have already said, but it was such a funny moment. Elaine and I hadn't been together particularly long when I noticed every week or so, she'd be in the other room just howling with laughter. I mean, and it would go on for like an hour. And it took me about 2 times to figure out, it sort of say, you've been on the phone with your mom again, haven't you? So that was always the case. It's like I could tell in a nanosecond who she was on the phone with just by how hard she was laughing. So that said a lot.
Yeah. That's true.
I could say something about Aunt Jean and Uncle Eddie. I'm one of the Turner cousins. Throughout the years when we would visit Lakin, it would be like a highlight of the year. It was so much fun, and I just remember picnics in the backyard with hamburgers and hot dogs and lemonade and Aunt Lila and Uncle George and of course I remember graduations, but it was like a highlight of the year when we go to Lakin. And I just remember laughter. I just remember laughter at the different gatherings and just fun. So
yeah.
Those were
Yeah,
great
those were-
times, Steve. Those were great times.
good escapades with David too. Wild escapades.
You have
Better
to
not
tell
go to
us
that.
one. You have to tell us one of those escapades.
One of these days.
Oh no, this day. No, it's okay. Someday I want to hear about it.
Someday.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, a couple things. So I would say some of my favorite memories of Grandma Jean. I like hearing everyone say Aunt Jean, Mom, ways that different relationship. But going to Grandma Jean's place when she still lived in Illinois before moving to California, and her apartment, and my brother and I, Johnny and I, we just loved her saloon doors that she had into her kitchen. That was just a really nice thing. And she was a great host, and also would get out her, like, I don't know, just clothes and earrings. And my brother and I would just try on her clothes and put her clip-on earrings on, and I don't know, just go wild, And then, of course, just all the times that I visited California and you guys, she was just always a presence. So, and just always seemed up for a good time, and definitely the fashionable thing was always noticeable. That was always seemed to be a priority for her, which I think is awesome. And then I just wanted to say that I thought the interview with her was just really, really touching. Very, especially when just her thoughts on, what would make the world a better place, and talking about, like, just brotherly love, sisterly love, that sort of thing. So I thought that was really touching. That's all I got.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad you liked that. I just wanted to say that for Jim, for you and John and Nellie, who haven't seen it, my kids have seen it, but there is a longer version. Actually, my siblings haven't seen it. There's a longer version of that we'll all watch together sometime when we have it ready to go. But she does talk about her growing up in California and panning for gold after it was 100 years after gold miners, but there were still some pans and of gold and little tiny little things that they found, and just a lot of fun childhood memories that she talks about too. And so at some point we'll do that. Did I cut somebody off that was going to say something? No. Okay. I think we're done. Are we done? Have we done this? Thank you, guys. This was so great. I so appreciate everybody being here, and it's just wonderful that it all came together. And thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, and Paul. Thank you so much for putting this together. It was just beautiful, just wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's great.
All right. Good to see everybody. Love you.
Good to see everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for inviting us.
Turners, good to
Love
see
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
you.
Blessings.
Dale,
Blessings.
everybody, great to see you. God bless you.
Bless you all.
Bye, Chuck and Barb.
Chuck and Barb.
Bye.
See
everyone.
Bye, Nellie.
Bye,
Great.
Bye, everyone.
Night, John Boy.
David. David Henry.
Nobody wants to leave.
Bye.
Bye.
There.
I gotta go for my walk. See ya.
All right.
All right, great.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Cut us off, Elaine, or do we cut ourselves off?
You can, I'm gonna cut you all off in just a second. I believe I can, or Paul has the power, I believe, to do that. So, but you can turn it off anytime. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye all.
Thanks for
Good seeing you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Jim Turner.
Great.